Why did you move into entrepreneurship?
When I spoke about it to my husband that I want to do something on my own, which he found very crazy. He said, there is a well-defined path which you have always followed and you have been very successful with it. Why you really want to drop it at this point when you're so close to holding the highest position in an organization? Just be patient. Good opportunities will come your way. I said, that's fine. But the point is, I just want to see what I can do on my own. He gave me a 6 months time. It was an ultimatum. Let's see what you are able to do in 6 months time, and then we will collectively sit and talk about it. Whatever you are doing, it's your value system which drives all of it. Because I had all the freedom as an entrepreneur to put my own, I would say, understanding into practice. So we are not focusing on bringing in new business again and again. For me, it's relationship management. It's the impact which we have created together with them. The point is, if I'm with someone, because I'm solving problem as a partner, I'm not going to, I would say, go out and if I know that the interest of this particular partner could be conflicted with the work which I'm doing for someone else. They're operating in the same competitive zone with the same insurance companies or hospitals or providers. I have to pick one. So for me, the governing criteria was that if I've said yes to you, I will stick to you. The barriers between insurance and healthcare is blurring nowadays. Okay? Because we are talking about an individual at the end. Every day I feel that, okay, I have learned something more. Now I want to utilize that additional learning, I would say, more. So the point is, I want to create larger pools so that everyone has access to the bare minimum support they need and they're able to afford it as well. The point is, my energy became very positive and work started pouring in. I was a single woman army. Then more people started joining this army and the team expanded. I think the journey became from a solo journey to a group journey. Wow. Because that's the point. When the whole world says you are crazy, you're actually not crazy because you are on the right track. So just hold it there, hold that patience, and you will see the success. Be there, don't lose it. You have already triggered that mode on.
Are you ready to unleash?
Yes.
The question that I want to ask you about, what's the percentage of unleashing?
That's a good one. Let's aim for 100%.
Not 120?
Let's see where it goes.
That's lovely. I loved your story when I read about your story. I think your story is similar to my story. So you're someone who is very dedicated in the corporate, have great experience. And after a long time, you parked everything aside and you moved into entrepreneurship. I would love to understand, why did you move into entrepreneurship?
Very interesting question to ask. As you have mentioned that our stories are similar. So I was part of corporate world, doing pretty well, if you will actually define in terms of success, performance, the designations which I was holding. I was one of the CXOs of renowned insurance company. Doing pretty well in terms of the, I would say, fundamental parameters which are used to define success. Then everything suddenly came to halt. So my last employer, which is one of the most renowned names in Indian industry, suddenly the promoter family started facing financial issues. Then what happened? Automatically the whole empire which I had seen in front of me, where I had a defined success path, I saw it crumbling down. And during that time, Ahmed, I could clearly feel that whatever you decide for your life, there are so many uncontrollable parameters which actually take you away from a defined path. So it was not, I would say, a very pleasant exposure of this reality. And especially when this financial issues were happening with the promoter group, COVID also happened. Okay. I would say, fortunately, it gave me immense time to think about where exactly I want to, I would say, take my future. And thankfully, with the support of my family, I wanted to see where exactly I stand in the world on standalone basis, without holding the designation that I was holding, without looking at the degrees I was holding, because I have always worked in insurance industry, and this was happening to me after 15 years of experience of working in, I would say, well-defined roles with renowned organizations. So I started this journey of exploring myself. I wanted to come close to myself. And that led to I would say, birth of RJ Actuaries and Consultant. Interestingly, the day of origin of RJ Actuaries and Consultant, which in short we call as RJAC, happens to fall on the same date of my daughter's birthday, which is 14th October. And that actually gave me a push because it was a personal journey on which I wanted to embark. I wanted to see what Raunak as an individual is capable of doing. That pushed me to take this risk, definitely with support of my family, because I was at a very comfortable position in my corporate journey. And there was a well-defined path of success which I followed. To be honest, I was very calculative, Ahmed, till that point in time. And when you see that your calculations are not holding good, then you feel like leaving control of it. Then I said, okay, let's see where the destiny leads you to.
But the question now, look, we are a creature as a human being, because I had the same also challenge before. When you think that I would leave all of my great experience in the corporate and I move into entrepreneurship, you have some two ways, I would say, at that time. So most people, what they do, they take the easiest way, which I have great experience, I have great knowledge. Why to waste like 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience and start something that maybe it's uncertain, right? So what was the turning point that tell you that, listen, no, I don't want to continue. I want and I believe on what I'm doing, I would do something on my own.
I would say yes. Similar questions came my way, okay? Especially when I spoke about it to my husband that I want to do something on my own, which he found very crazy. He said, like, there is a well-defined path which you've always followed and you have been very successful with it. Why you really want to drop it at this point when you're
Exactly.
so close to holding the highest position in an organization? Just be patient. Good opportunities will come your way. I said, that's fine. But the point is, I just want to see what I can do on my own. He gave me a 6 months time, it was an ultimatum. Okay, let's see what you are able to do in 6 months time. And then we will collectively sit and talk about it. Interestingly, for first 2 months, I could not figure out what exactly I want to do. Because the area in which I was trying to, I would say, create my consulting practice, which is insurance, it's very technical world and still a highly underpenetrated market in India. If you talk about insurance, we still call as life insurance. And throughout my earlier career, I was working closely on general insurance and health insurance side. So I really wanted to move away from using word insurance. I wanted to see the toolkit which I have with me, the experience which I have with me, how I can actually utilize in multifaceted manner. That urge, like to many people it sounded crazy, especially to my peer group who were holding CXO positions, especially I would say joining these big names with the, I would say, decent cushion of ESOP sitting with them, decent salaries. They said like, why you really want to do it? Just be patient, you will find something interesting coming your way. I said, no, I really want to see. 2 months, I could not, I would say, figure out what exactly I wanted to do because I was I really want to share that the creative side of my personality, which you say, like I have always been using the left side of my brain, not the right one. Suddenly, I was forced to use my right side of the brain. Then I started penning down what exactly I want to do. I met interesting people, few of the startups with whom I closely work with, so the founders, they're more like close friends now. That's how I count them as. When I met them, people who are not from from your industry, but who are trying to chart out their own way, who are taking risk at the highest level, even if there is one in, I would say, million chance of success, that really inspired me. So in the 3rd month, maybe as you say, like given I have left all the controls on the destiny, um, interestingly, I would say work started pouring in, which was very different from what I was doing because I was sitting in a cushy chair with a decent sized team, giving instructions. All my work was to manage the team, manage regulator. I would just sit in board meetings with other stakeholders. But this was very different. A work came where I was actually asked to review the health insurance portfolio of one of the biggest corporate names in India because my name was referred by one of the peer. Um, and it was not actuarial work. It was mainly a management consulting work where I was working closely with the CHRO. I looked at data. I did entire analysis on my own, looking at spreadsheets, running codes. There was a report which I created. I discussed it with the entire HR team, starting from HR analyst to the CHRO. That experience was very different for me. And whatever I presented, many of the people on the other side said, "We didn't know that insurance looks like this. Nobody discussed it with us." Yeah, like how
Simplicity, yeah.
simplicity. And then I said, wow, I can actually simplify these technical work so that it becomes understandable by the end user. For example, when we talk about insurance, suddenly the word protection comes into our mind. And this particular case, which I'm sharing with you, is related to health insurance, where I was this consulting project which I did. This entity had multiple, I would say, sub entities underneath the umbrella it was operating in. Different nature of work, different age group, different work timings, different geographies. Uh, and they wanted to have a holistic cover with them. And that enabled me to put my understanding of, I would say, insurance as such, consolidating what an individual need in terms of healthcare and insurance into a very usable form and format. I work closely with insurance brokers on that particular project. I could clearly understand, I would say, the data issues which all stakeholders were facing, because the data which resides with insurance company versus which resides with insurance broker versus the view which the corporate had, they all were different. So bringing symmetry across these three stakeholders, talking to them in uniform language, that really gave me push. That was a very small budget project, Ahmed. I would say as good as, I would say, zero, to be honest. But the kick it gave me, because I was exploring an uncharted path. And I would say after that, I opened up. I started doing stuff which in my, I would say, close circle language, they call as extracurricular. That, okay, you are going beyond. So that whole urge to go beyond was something which got suddenly kicked in. And I said, okay, I want to work in area which I have not explored. So, and still, I would say and I'm happy that I identified that urge to go beyond. So that is helping me to know myself more, to know other people more. And to be honest, over the last 5 years, since the time I moved out from a typical corporate role, I have met many interesting people. I have met, I would say, people who have taken so many challenges and interesting paths in their life, including you. We are chatting here, the
My
corporate
pleasure.
journey which we shared.
Yeah.
That actually brought back this trust, which maybe I have lost in humans. Okay, I was very number oriented, calculative, but now I'm more people oriented. I laugh a lot, much more. I cry a lot as well because I've become emotional. And I think this whole journey has made me more human. I have met so many, I would say, other entrepreneurs, small, medium, big, of all sorts. And everybody has an inspirational story. Everybody is a walking story, I would say. And I'm fortunate that this path has given me lots of experiences, which I was devoid of when I was sitting inside the glass offices. And I'm enjoying this journey. And I would say whatever experience, whatever tools I had collected over the initial part of my professional life, I'm using them in all possible manner. So that urge to go beyond, to experience, okay, what maximum I can do with this is helping me. But interestingly, every day I feel that, okay, I have learned something more. Now I want to utilize that additional learning, I would say, more. So this urge is only going up, not going down. I've tasted it.
I love this, but you spoke about the urge, right? And you mentioned like the first 2 months, it was like
Obviously.
very hard moments, right? What was the motive behind your urge after the 2 months? Because we are human being, right? 2 months getting out of a great corporation, right? And setting high expectations or expecting too much from yourself. Within the 2 months, what keeps you, let's say, after the 2 months, I want to move more? Because sometimes not everything that we expect, it moves in our way, right? What was the motive behind your urge to continue and you see that there is something will happen?
I think I shared with you like the very first success which I experienced with non-technical people, okay, non-insurance people, because my entire journey had been into insurance. And I was out in the world working with people not necessarily who know what I was doing in the past. So standing at that juncture, it's more like when you start to learn to crawl, then to walk. Now I want to run. That was the journey. So that actually gave me lots of motivation, like, and the whole point is this whole journey is very individual in nature, the journey of life. And the point is like you have to define many times what motivates you, what you want to pick, what you want to drop, so that in that whole experience I didn't look at it that okay, it is a very small work which I'm doing. It's not, I would say, the level of people I was working with. I have to, I would say, do lots of follow up with various levels of people. But the point was this entire experience allowed me to know, or maybe to aliven few qualities which I felt I had lost way back. So I would say I felt motivated when I experienced success defined in my own way. Again, I would say
Even if it's
success,
small,
yeah.
I would say, because
It's
you mentioned
small,
like
big, yeah.
like after the third month it's almost zero.
Almost zero. But the point is, I knew that it was just an indication that I'm on the right path. Because still I had 3 more months. I was optimistic. My entire time duration was 6
6 months.
months given to me by the family. So okay, it's still third month. And then suddenly things started changing. I started getting involved in interesting work. I worked with startups. I worked with health tech firms. I continue to, I would say, work on the regulatory assignments. And suddenly, because maybe like it's, the point is my energy became very positive. Then work started pouring in. And I was a single woman army. Then more people started joining this army. And the team expanded. So then I think the journey became from a solo journey to a group journey.
Wow, wow. I'd like to dig deep a little bit.
Sure.
If I want to come back, okay, since you started this journey and you had like an inventory of yourself at that time, and what if scenario, you would say that what if 6 months has gone already and it's not working? What you will tell yourself? You will come back to where you start, or you will keep grinding and move forward? I know it's a deep reflection.
I like the question, to be honest. Even when I have also thought about it, if nothing would have fallen on my plate during that time, and what I would have done, I would have again, I would say, allowed destiny to take over. Because maybe that this was the only time of exploration which destiny wanted me to experience. So I think I would have gone with the flow, which I have learned, which I actually learned in the third month. Imagine if nothing would have happened over 6 months. I would have again gone back, but with as a different person. And but the point is, I don't want to think about it, because I also attempted to do that reflection. Why I should feel that okay, if something else, a different scenario would have unfolded, I don't want to think about it, because this was the only scenario which was meant to be unfolded for me. That's how I'm reading it. Because suddenly, when I was at a decent position in my corporate career, the path was very clear for me. I knew what exactly I wanted to do over next 3 years. Then suddenly everything crushed down. I made right moves with my own calculations, and they were not holding good. The point is, there's something else which is controlling, and I clearly believe in that. Meeting unknown people, getting, I would say, introduced to interesting set of, I would say, lives. I leave it to that. So I think I'm in fact, I would say I still talk to my friends about it. The point is, you have to leave it to destiny. It may sound crazy to you. All you need to do is just be open to take clue which the destiny is throwing on
I
you.
love
And it's
that.
not easy. It's very painful many times.
Yeah, but I like that you have this mindset of adaptability, because I think it's one of the major trait for an entrepreneur to adapt and to dance with life and to dance with the situation and conditions. which is great. This is not, because most people will say, okay, listen, I will be persistent, I will do, it's great. But sometimes also, if it doesn't work, I keep saying like that, there is something wrong. And most people, what they say, I did my best and it doesn't work. But you have to think from the other perspective that sometimes we shouldn't do our best only. We should do what is required. Because sometimes we are as an entrepreneur, we are in love with our products, with our services, and we look at it from our angle. But sometimes we lack how to look at it from our, I would say, people angle, or the people that we are serving them. So I think adaptability, it's a great one, and I like how you maneuvered over it, which is a great one.
Thanks, Ahmed. And that's why when I talk about RJAC, I don't call it a only consulting firm. I always call it as a boutique consulting firm, which helps clients to make tailor-made solution. So the solutions which are relevant to you, which are made flexible for you, so that it fits you well.
But you mentioned, I remember when I spoke to you, you mentioned something interesting, impact partner, right? So impact partner, and most people, they think about like a company like advisory, right? How did you come up with that term, that impact partner?
I think that could again be, I would say, linked to I would say, what pushed me into this journey, which is to be impactful in multifaceted manner. Uh, because as I said, like urge to go beyond, okay, uh, that actually enabled me to look at problem statements which were presented to me in a deeper manner. So I never looked at problems which were brought to me in a single perspective. Obviously, given the nature of the work which I do, which is more compliance, risk, and regulatory oriented, there is a glass which I have to wear. But I was fine to look at it from different glasses as well. Because that's what destiny has already taught me, that there is not only one glass which you have to wear. That enabled me to work in different manners with different clients. And hence, rather than working as an advisor, we become more like a partner. Especially when, for example, when you're working with the small insurance companies, which is actually dealing with lots of regulatory troubles. You help them to fix their regulatory filing, you help them to, I would say, get a better balance in terms of their financials. But the point is, okay, what is their next journey? What kind of products they should launch in the market? What their competitors are doing, what they should do without losing, I would say, their own USPs. When we were working with startups, they were struggling with very different problem statements. They had big dreams. The decks were talking really nice. It's more like they've identified the gaps in the area where they want to set up their entity. They know, okay, this is the area, this is the business potential, this is going to be the valuation. But the point is, helping them to fix basics was where I was helping. So the point is, I started offering flexible solution that enabled us to move beyond a technical advisor role to become more like an impact partner. And to be honest, there are many projects also which I have left. For example, I was working with a startup and still working with them, which is, I would say, a known name in health care industry now in India. There were lots of projects which were coming my way, which were conflicting in nature and maybe more rewarding, maybe more commercially rewarding. I said no to them.
Why?
The point is, if I'm with someone, like, because I'm solving problem as a partner, I'm not going to, I would say, go out and if I know that the interest of this particular partner could be conflicted with the work which I'm doing for someone else, they're operating in the same competitive zone with the same insurance companies or hospitals or providers, I have to pick one. So for me, the governing criteria was that if I've said yes to you, I will stick to you. So that's commitment. The point is, obviously, if I'm focusing more on rewarding benefits, then I would have taken different calls. But if my commitment lies with you, I will stick with you. That's something which I've learned from my parents, to be honest. Lots of differences, lots of mess, which you see, I would say, in typical family structures. But the point is commitment to stay together. And that what, as I said, like whatever you are doing, it's your value system, which drives all of it. Because I had all the freedom as an entrepreneur to put my own, I would say, understanding into practice, and I did it. And I would say this journey enabled us to work with these clients, these people for long. So we are not focusing on bringing in new business again and again. For me, it's relationship management. It's the impact which we have created together with them because we are in it with them. So it's not we are the ones who are leading it. The point is we are supporting. So we always had their back.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say congratulations for you because you're expanding now in Gulf. I know that you have like great inspiration and great achievements in India, but now you moved to the Gulf, right? So, what what you can see from your experience here in the Gulf countries, based on what you have that you can solve for your current clients? What do you think about it?
Uh, Ahmed, given that most of the projects and experience which I have lies in healthcare and insurance, and lots of the projects which we have done, they lie at that cusp, which I would say allows us to be reliable partner for insurance companies, insurtech firms, aggregators, insurance brokers, health tech slash startup firms operating here in GCC, um, to help us create that impact which they want to as a reliable partner. We have done it in, I would say, small manner with various companies. Given that we are in GCC, health insurance as such is the biggest insurance portfolio, if we talk about it. And after working in this market for last 3 to 4 years closely on various assignments, well structured market, but lots of leakages, lots of gaps still exist, misaligned incentives across, I would say, various stakeholders who are part of the ecosystem. Lot of area to, I would say, create solutions to meet end users' objectives, because we spoke that insurance is a financial protection product. Okay, and given, I would say, huge size of expat population living in UAE, for example, unlike Saudi where I would say it is more national focused, the point is you need flexible benefits to be structured so that people are provided with right coverage, right healthcare solution, which are tailor made for them, which stay with them, because there are lots of rotation also which we are seeing across Gulf. There are many people who move from UAE to Saudi, Saudi to Qatar, Qatar to other parts, and even I would say countries like Kuwait are also opening up. There are lots of, I would say, similarities. People, they jump across um, GCC countries. So the point is, we would like to be part of that solution which will encapsulate this region in moving to the next stage. When I'm saying next stage, because the barriers between insurance and healthcare is blurring nowadays. Okay, because we are talking about an individual at the end. Let's take me and you. The definition of wellness for me is maybe, I would say, meditation and yoga. For me, you, it may be, I would say, I would like to hit a gym where I'm having my me time, because it's how I'm taking care of my physical and mental well-being. It is very individualistic in nature. Okay, but the point is, whatever I'm doing on daily basis, it has an impact on the status of health which I hold. Okay, that has a direct impact on, I would say, the number of visits I'm paying to hospitals or clinics. When I'm saying hospitals and clinics, whatever state takes me to hospital and clinic, it will have a direct, I would say, impact on the medications I'm prescribed to. The point is, everything is interconnected. I was talking to one of the startups, which is like where the founders are doctors, and interesting uh, purpose. They only want to serve the lower strata and lower middle management, middle income group of the society, because the mass is huge. I'm talking about countries like India. I was talking to them and I was saying that whenever we try to create a wholesome financial insurance product, I need that longitudinal view of data. Okay, I want to see, okay, what was the result of your, I would say, blood test last year. I would like to see how your weight is varying, how your blood sugar levels are varying. When I actually try to convert your health parameters into something which could be converted into a insurance risk premium. When I was sitting with doctor, and doctor was saying, Raunak, if you have last 365 days history available with you as well, I can help you to, I would say, clinically segment the risk. When I'm saying clinically segment, that means 1 year history is enough. Then I should not fight for longitudinal way. She said, no, the point is the last 365 days actually give you a decent exposure into, I would say, how your health parameters are varying. For example, in 200 days, your entire blood get recycled. Okay.
It's interesting.
If you really want to control all this, if I actually push you to follow a certain regime for close to 200 days, definitely you are effectively a new being in a year time. 200 for this, and your entire body gets, I would say, your cells are degenerating, I would say, every moment. So you are a new person in a year's time. But the point is, why you need longitudinal history from a clinical health risk perspective is the behavioral aspect. If you are consistent, okay, with your daily habits, you will be holding similar, I would say, medical statistics when I'm taking your reports. That actually makes you a disciplined and not disciplined person, a consistent or not consistent person. So the point is, when I'm giving you these examples, it's the collaboration which you want to have. I know a certain skill. I can calculate numbers. I can forecast financial risk. But the point is, I'm talking about an individual at the end, which is actually more known to a person who is equipped with that knowledge of knowing an individual, not the balance sheet. So I'm really enjoying working together with these, I would say, professionals. But coming back to your question, in GCC, given, I would say, lots of flexibility is needed, lots of discussions are already happening. I've met very interesting people here who want to try out newer solutions. And the interesting bit is this part is highly evolving with significant portion, the proportion of expat population, where risks are varying, evolving, needs are different, requirements are different. Hence, we need more flexible solution. And that is the area where we want to, I would say, fit as a connecting block, so that this entire ecosystem which is getting generated, we can actually support in the most optimized way this ecosystem could function. I would say not only in terms of provision of benefit, management of benefit, cost optimization, because sustainability is another issue for everyone who's involved.
By the way, I'm learning from you a lot about insurance and healthcare. That's really amazing.
Maybe we should have a separate podcast on insurance next
Definitely.
time, only talking about what I would say insurance
I love
is.
that.
Yeah.
So, from your experience, extended experience in healthcare and insurance, what is the biggest major pain points that you see in GCC, and how through RJAC you can support or you can help them from that perspective?
Yes, so it's linked to the earlier question which you asked. The point is, as I said, this is an evolving ecosystem which all the stakeholders are building together, whether it's insurance companies, employers who are majorly funding, I would say, the healthcare premiums and insurance premiums, the hospital network, the providers, and other entities who are involved in ecosystem management, like insurance brokers, third-party administrators, aggregators. The point is, it's an ecosystem where all stakeholders have their own specific incentives. The first and the foremost thing is that we have to align these incentives in a mutually agreeable manner. When I'm saying mutually agreeable manner, there are lots of dependency on, I would say, non-digital processes still in this market. The whole point is, if we can actually support insurance companies on digitization of processes, bringing in trust in terms of data completeness, accuracy, asymmetry of data is a big problem here. We would like to support on this part of data management, where everyone has similar view of, I would say, information at individual level who are getting covered under health insurance and healthcare programs. Another bit is, like for example, in UAE, there are different requirements at Emirates level as well. Okay, for example, in Northern Emirates, health insurance has become mandatory. Okay, and especially when you talk about these blue collar workers.
Yeah.
Okay, the white collars are protected by employers and their health covers are pretty comprehensive. They have access to best of the hospitals as per the network coverages they get. But these blue collar workers, for them also it's compulsory. Do they really know what are they buying? Do they have understanding of the insurance as a product? So that's an area which pushes us, in fact, everyone around, to create awareness around the insurance needs, not only limited to white collar, but to blue collar as well. And as soon as we talk about blue collars, not necessarily their insurance covers are funded by their employers because they're working in restaurants, they're working for cleaning services, they're working on I would say those small end jobs where every penny matters a lot for them because most of the income which they are generating here, close to 70-80% they're sending back home. And that's why I mentioned about creating sustainable covers. Okay, so we are, I would say, addressing the people who can actually afford covers, mainly sponsored by employers or the, I would say, people who are at the higher level of income group. But what about these people? So that is another area where would like to work closely with insurance companies so that it becomes sustainable solution. Because every day, for example, okay, let's talk about my maid. I have provided for her insurance cover. It's a private insurance which I have bought for her. Not as a requirement for visa, but I wanted her to have, I would say, a good insurance cover so that she can go to doctor. She can, I would say, whenever she needs, she has access to all the medicines she needs. But the point is, if she's not working with me, okay, not necessarily the next employer she would have would be able to give her the same cover. Does she actually know that, okay, what exactly she has got in the form of protection? No. So creating awareness at that level, because every single day they are out of work, it's a loss of income for them. So do we have loss of income protection? Yes, there is some kind of, I would say, income protection scheme right now the government has introduced, which is highly, I would say, commendable. But the point is, do these people know how to use these covers? That is something I would say which I identify as a gap. Yeah, it leaves us thinking, but the point is, are we doing enough for that strata of society? So
But this is very purposeful when you think from that perspective. If I may ask you, from the data management, you spoke about data management and integration. What is in it for the companies? What they will get from that perspective? I know that you have mentioned that patients and all of this stuff, it's very purposeful. But if I take it from that company's perspective, how your services will be able to support them and help them?
Yes. So as I said, like we've worked on multiple projects so far. So from insurance company perspective, helping them to design and price products which go beyond insurance. When I'm saying beyond insurance, I would say traditional way of defining insurance when we are encapsulating wellness, when we are encapsulating, I would say, other healthcare benefits, which mainly gets categorized under employee benefits by corporates. So we want to, I would say, converge the definitions for the sponsor, in most of the cases who is employer, and the insurance company, so that they create more relevant products. So product designing, pricing. When I'm talking about pricing, because insurance company manages financial risk associated with cost of hospitalization and cost of managing your healthcare needs. Whereas an employer is more interested in having a healthy population. They want to provide for them at the time of distress when they need it. They want to fulfill the responsibility of a caregiver. When you talk about an employee, they expect that, okay, the employer will look at them. Okay, and over and above what has been provided to them, they have their additional needs as well. Yeah. So you want to create those products with right stakeholders, which is meeting the requirements of all the stakeholders together. The second bit is it will not end at only designing and pricing. It will actually, I would say, ensure uniformity of information across all these stakeholders. So as I said, our next I would say work which we are doing, we're actually moving from services to products now. We are working on creating an employee benefit platform right now, which we call as Total Connect. Because after working closely with insurance company on solving pricing and product designing problems, working closely with tech firms and creating insurtech solutions, to serve end user in better way, after working closely with corporates to design their employee benefit programs, we have brought all these analytical blocks on one platform. Yeah, so that our existing clients as well as I would say future clients can use this platform to have a uniform view of data, to have I would say comfort of providing flexible covers without I would say misaligned incentives, having I would say access to actual evolving needs, because everybody would be looking at experience in I would say uniform manner. Everybody will have access to same information, so that asymmetry or different perspectives which you get to hear, they will be taken out of the system. uh, and we are working with hospitals as well, because the point is, as you were asking me, that it's not only data asymmetry, but the way data is getting stored and the way data custody is, I would say, getting managed here. We don't want, I would say, this custody to lie here and there. There needs to be an integrated platform so that incentives are aligned, people are able to meet the objectives they are setting at organization level, at employee level, at insurance company level, so that the expectations from the other stakeholder who are service providers could also be established in a clear fashion. So this platform, in fact, given that we have already moved to the platform discussion, uh, we have already put our analytics block there, which is more like a pricing engine which we have created, which creates live dashboards. There is employee benefit valuation which we do. So the point is, we have HRA data, we have claims data, we have healthcare data flowing together on the platform. It creates reports on the go. It's in testing phase right now. We want to run pilot. We are in discussion with few insurance companies to run the pilot for the same before we actually unleash it to the market.
Congratulations in advance.
Thank
Right, so,
you. But yeah, so as I said, like that urge is there. We would like to help in whatever manner we can. And this market needs those kind of things. And it's not me who is talking about it. There are lots of, I would say, advisors who are there in the market. But given that whatever we have created in tailor-made fashion via our boutique consulting firm, we want to take it to larger audience, be an impact partner, and solve more relevant problems.
that's lovely. I love your mission. Let me ask you now for your vision, because I know that you're planning for great expansion here and you're meeting great VCs and great people. What's your vision for the coming period for
Yes.
RJAC? I would
So
say.
given that you have mentioned about VCs and all, because as I said, this is not a solo journey on which I'm embarking. If I am aiming for high, I need more people to be part of this mission, this journey. It's a group play. It's not an individual play. And that's what exactly my, I would say, intention is. If you want to achieve higher objectives, you need more people to support you. You need more hands on deck. So when you're talking about expansion, the current phase is when you're moving from services to product, where we want to pilot with like-minded stakeholders to create newer products in the market with support of insurance company, providers, insurtech firms, technology firms. The next stage is for me, and that's my personal objective, because many people say, Raunak, what for you over I would say next 5 years? I actually dream of forming an insurance company, okay, which not only I would say serve the people who are able to, I would say, afford insurance cover, but for I would say the lower strata, because I really want to create an environment with support of other people, VCs, insurance companies, or insurance provider right now, to bring an affordable and sustainable solution. But ultimately, it's converging to a dream of forming an insurance company where everyone has a solution. Okay, where I'm not saying that, okay, you are not fitting my standard risk criteria and I cannot give you a policy. Okay, we should be able to create large enough pools, because if I talk about insurance, it's a pooling mechanism. When you bring in lots of people together, okay, to ensure that everyone is covered at the time of distress. So the point is, I want to create larger pools so that everyone has access to the bare minimum support they need, and they're able to afford it as well. So that's my motive is. So obviously, like, that's an aim which I have. Let's see where the destiny takes me. It's just
I'm sure that with your vision and with your mindset, you will take it to another place. Last question I want to ask you about it. I think it will be more personal, but if there is an entrepreneur that is listening to us right now, and they started their journey, and they have some vision, they have some products, great products in their minds, or maybe services, and they hit the rock bottom right now. They tried and tried and tried, but it doesn't work. What is the last advice that you can give it to them?
Very nice question. Yes. The point is, when you're talking about this entrepreneur, first of all, they should give a pat on their back, because they've already, I would say, embarked on this thrill ride, okay, which is very individualistic in nature. I cannot define, I would say, how one person has attained success compared to the other one. It's very individual. The path is different, the milestones would be different. But the point is, you have taken the courage to embark on that journey. Small, big, very big, it doesn't matter. You have it in you. You've already triggered that mode on. Obviously, for example, when you play video games, the closer you are to the success, suddenly things become more challenging. So when suddenly everything around you is not making sense, is going against you, this is, I would say, my actual calculation which says you are very close to the success. Just hold it there. Just hold it there. Stay patient for some time and don't lose trust in you. Because that's the point. When the whole world says you are crazy, you're actually not crazy, because you are on the right track. So just hold it there, hold that patience, and you will see the success. Be there, don't lose it. You have already triggered that mode on. Trust yourself.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming here today. It's a pleasure listening to your story and just gaining some insights about healthcare. I know it's complicated, but you make it very easy. But really, I wish you all the best, and I know with your great vision, you will go to places where magic happens.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Anu, for this chat and the time.
Thank you so much. Unleash is the bridge between my purpose and my mission. And my mission is unleashing the human greatness to its utmost potential.